I'm feeling confident that the Knicks could both be a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense, and in turn, they can make the NBA Finals.
You are Locked On Knicks, your daily New York Knicks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
You are locked on to the New York Knicks. My name is Gavin Shaw. I am a New York City native. I'm a credentialed media member that has been covering the Knicks for nearly a decade, and I'm the Saturday co-host of the Locked On NBA podcast. And this is Locked On Knicks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your daily podcast on the New York Knicks, giving the most detailed insight on your favorite team 5 days a week. So be sure to join thousands of other Knicks fans and subscribing to both YouTube and your favorite podcast platform for the best insight on your favorite team every single day. On today's show, second episode of the day, so you just part one, circle on back, watch that, and then come right back here. We are trying to get you through the day, leading you up to Knicks Cavs with board bets. We are placing some hypothetical money down on our strongest predictions, including whether the Knicks will be a top 5 offense, whether they could sneak into being a top 12 defense in the NBA, whether they'll win over 54 games this year, and whether or not they'll make the finals. That's a big one. We'll get into it all right now with Kris, with XJ, right here on Locked On Knicks. All right, Kris, you're up back to back. If you want to do 2 in a row, you want to do one, and then we can talk it through. Whatever you're feeling, buddy.
Oh man, the traded one is so tempting because just like odds tell you to take the over. But I'm personally going to go with a pick that is super agenda fueled. It's all the talk this summer. It's all the rage. And it's Mikal Bridges and his role under Mike Brown. I'm going to go with Mikal over 19.5 points per game this season. He doesn't even have to average 20. Just give me 19.6, bud. That I'm going to take the over on. So I've taken an over and an under so far. With Deuce closing 30 plus games, I have the under. Mikal averaging 19.5 points, I have the over. And I'll be really, really short with my rationale for this. Mike Brown, more possessions, more shots. Mikal averaged just under 18 last year. He had a year from hell. I don't think that a lot of how last year went was either comfortable for him or something that made him feel like he was satisfied, but things just weren't shaking his way. I think he felt mostly like things weren't shaking his way and he's unsatisfied with how things are going. And it wasn't just like, oh, shots aren't falling. Like there was a lack of rhythm. There was a lack of momentum that he built over the course of the year that really, it was when the Knicks kind of had to band together, push everything to the side and lock in for the playoffs that they got the best out of him. With all that said, it seems like from very early on, Mike Brown has had one of his several foci has been to empower and to coach up Mikal Bridges. Like he's been treating him like he's a guy that the Knicks traded 5 first-round picks for. And you know, I can say from being at Summer League, like there was no player Mike Brown spoke to more on the sidelines before the Dadier, Pate, Diawara show each day than Mikal Bridges. They'd sit next to each other, they'd chat, they wouldn't be sitting next to each other, but during timeouts and half times, Brown would go over to him and be talking to him about stuff. Like, I think Mike Brown's very in on Mikal Bridges. I also think it might be just as much about Mike Brown being very in on Mikal Bridges being an X factor for the Knicks. Like sometimes, you know, you do a lot of coaching work because you know that you can get more out of a guy. Sometimes you do a lot of individual coaching work because you know your team is screwed unless that guy is giving you everything he's got and is making things work. And, you know, Brown's a coach who's going to be playing Bridges a lot less minutes. I think he's going to be wanting him running around even more than Tom had him running around in those minutes. So it's all about the optimization of things, right? How can they get the most out of Mikal in his minutes, even if there are less of them? I think part of the way they see that is going to be getting him threes early in the game, letting him get in rhythm, not having him take his first 3-point attempt late in the first quarter from the corner as a late shot clock heave, making sure that the same way the Knicks would almost like begrudgingly start games off with a pistol action for RJ Barrett. Like I think you'll see Mike Brown with like some first and second quarter efforts, both with the starting unit and with the second unit, to like have Mikal be a guy for this team, because XJ said it earlier, the way long ago at this point, but like the Knicks have good wings. The Knicks do not have many wings, and they don't have much wing depth. So Mikal being huge as a big guard and as a wing, both small and big, like filling kind of three roles for this team, it's going to be significant for their success. I think Mike Brown knows that.
I actually simultaneously agree with almost everything Kris said, and still would have taken the under. And the reason for that is I think Mikal Bridges is going to, his per possession points and scoring will go up. If we look at some of his per 75 scoring numbers in his career, he's only been over this 19.5 number twice. And those were his 2 Brooklyn Nets seasons when he was the primary creator and scorer. And so while I think he's going to become a lot more efficient, I agree with Kris that Mike Brown is going to get Mikal Bridges going. I love what Kris said about him kind of treating him like a player that 5 first-round picks were traded for. And you and I, Gavin, have talked about how, I think that Mikal Bridges is the winner of the Mike Brown signing for the Knicks as a coach. All that being said, I just think his minutes are going to come down. And so I think he's going to flirt with this number. And to me, it's sort of a 50-50-ish kind of situation just based on a minutes per game. And I would probably land on the under, but yeah, I could see it going either way. But that's just kind of where I'm at. But overall, I think Mikal Bridges is going to be a much, much, much more featured and effective offensive player, regardless of what shakes out for his points per game.
Yeah, Kris read me like a book. This was an agenda line for me. This was me almost less so, to your point, like the logic of him going over like 2 extra points per game, playing potentially 3 or 4 minutes less per game is it's challenging to make the math work. And yet I want to take the over more so as a philosophy than I 100% believe it. The number one thing is that I just think he's going to shoot 4% better from 3 this year. He's going to jump from 35%.
Oh, that's
something like 39%. He just look, and that alone, I would guess, I'd have to do the math, but I would say that probably pretty much gets you there. His shot just looks so much more comfortable, so much more in rhythm, where it was such a disaster to start last season. And to Chris's point, to your point, XJ, I made the analogy the last 2 shows, but what the heck, I'll go 3 for 3. Like, it's the difference between a guy clocking into work every day with the boss. Maybe he doesn't hate, but at best he's neutral too, and occasionally gets very frustrated by. There's someone who loves his coworkers, loves his boss, and like loves what the mission of the job is. Like, just his level of enthusiasm, I think, will lead to more steals, more transition layups. We've seen him offensive rebound this preseason at rates he's never come close to hitting in his career. Who knows if that maintains over a long season where he's playing every single game. But again, just one more of those a game. Every 2 games, you get an extra 2 points from one. Like, all could lead to more scoring. I just think there are a lot of different avenues on top of the pace for him to find more points this season. I just kind of sneakily think he is going to have a career type year, maybe not in terms of raw points per game like he did those first 25 games on the Nets, but even if the career numbers suggest under, I go over, just because I'm such a believer in him having a career season. Kris, I got to hand the mic back to you. You have one more pick. Do you want to make that trade one? Is that, I'll tell you now, that is one that I was certainly eyeing as well, or you want to go a different direction?
I don't know that I see Mitchell Robinson's contract ending and the Knicks just being fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is a front office that has shown time and time again that they would rather pay someone they don't even want to pay and have the years of team control, as opposed to them potentially walking or being in restricted free, whatever it is. Like, they're pretty clear about that, which is why entering the season with this contract situation the way it is, and knowing that this is the kind of the first year, full year, in which we're seeing like second apron ripple effects across the board. Like, oh, your team's star got hurt, trade everybody. Like clear all the books. Like I don't know how they're going to operate in this world. I don't know what they're going to do. So with all that, I say, put that list back up. We are ducking the trade smoke. We are we are seeing that there may be smoke, there may be fire, folks. We are turning around and going the other way.
All right, guys, we'll be back in just a sec to continue making board bets right here on Locked On Knicks. But first, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, well, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards you actually use. When you pay your rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed towards hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and so much more. But this isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. I love that with Built, your rent finally works for you. You're earning points every month on something you already have to pay. Whether I'm grabbing food at my favorite restaurant or heading to the gym, I'm still earning rewards. So Built has just made everyday life feel that much more rewarding, almost kind of like a video game. From your neighborhood to your travel plans, turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure to use the link so they know that we sent you. Today's episode is also brought to you by our good friends over at Skims. When I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I got to say I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family. I just had to give it a try. Let me tell you, it absolutely lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear, whether it's fit, comfort, or just finding the right style for me. Skims has changed all that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. I tried the Skims stretch 5-inch boxer briefs, and I am hooked. These are perfect for my active lifestyle. They move with me, never lose their shape, and stay in place all day long. Whether I'm working out, playing basketball, or just running some errands, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. Shop Skims Men's at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select Locked On Knicks in the drop-down menu that follows.
I will gladly go with the forced turnovers.
I like it. Okay. Oh, wait, over or under?
I'm going to go under here. Like under with regard to less. Like they will be lower on that list. So they will not be in the top 8. Mike Brown is going to be a good coach for the Knicks. That's what I think. I think he's going to bring a good defense to the table. But instead of betting on that defense to have a top 4 or not net rating, I'm just going to take this almost like a player prop on the defense, which is the amount of turnovers they'll force relative to the rest of the league. I think we've got teams like that are not young, but bad that might, these guys are out there playing for their jobs. Brooklyn, Utah, like Brooklyn, young, yes, but the guys that are not rookies, not so young. I think these teams will force turnovers too. Like I think the NBA is kind of going towards this being a thing. It's a copycat league. We're watching OKC do it. And you're going to watch the adjustments happen, sweep the league. So I'm going to say that the Knicks will have a good defense. They might even have a great one, but I don't need to decide any of that because I'm going with the forced turnovers, and I'm going to put them not in the top 8 of the NBA.
Yeah, I agree with you. Ultimately, I think they are going to jump up in that stat. I know it's something XJ and I think Chris, you and I have touched on it a little bit. Like the increased emphasis on gap help will lead to more steals for Mikal and OG. Deuce looks like he's ascended to another level as a defensive playmaker. Like I just think in terms of explosiveness, this is far and away the best he's ever looked physically. And that'll maybe give you like an extra 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. I say all that to say, like, I think they will jump. I think 7 spots is a little rich. XJ, what do you think about this? And then if you want to make your next pick.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to jump up that many spots. I do think this is kind of the way the more modern NBA is moving in terms of defensive adjustments. But I think I think that teams that have, really good wings who do play in this kind of safety role like the Knicks do have a good chance to generate a lot of turnovers. But the principles have to be more kind of aggressive help principles and not sort of like rim protection at all costs. And I think that, Mike Brown does come in the Tibbs ilk of trying to protect the rim more so than gambling and looking for steals to win possession battles in terms of the turnover battle, like an Oklahoma City would do, like an Orlando Magic would do. So for that reason, I would have went in the same direction. So Kris definitely chose the one that I was going to pick. And so that leaves me in a really tough spot for the first time here in this draft. And so I'm scrambling a little bit, and I'm not really happy about the one that I'm going to pick, which is Knicks. And you had Knicks over under 3.5 offensive rating, which that's what
I was looking at. So I'm glad you went there, but yeah, go for it.
Well, I think it's such a good, this line is so good because you would say, well, top 3 offense, that's going to be tough for any season. But like, we're talking about who are the top offenses in the NBA. Like I have Cleveland penciled in. I have Oklahoma City penciled in, but you would have had Boston. Boston's probably not going to be there. You might have had Indiana. Probably not going to be there. You may have had Memphis. Memphis seems like they may be taking a back step offensively and specifically at least.
Denver.
So there you go. You have the Denver Nuggets. So I'm going to go with the under on that. I'm probably going to say that I just think the top 2 are locked in for me. Cleveland, Oklahoma City is some order. And so it's really Knicks against the field. And while I think the Knicks probably will be top 3, I wouldn't go with like the plurality of the vote towards the Knicks being in the top 3. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to just pick that one and not feel strongly about it. But at the same time, I just think it's going to be tough to go Knicks versus the field. Any of these teams could come out of nowhere and just have a great offense like we saw with the Sacramento Kings years ago under Mike Brown. So just based on sure odds, that's really where I'm going.
Yeah, I had the over just because, I don't know. Actually, I feel like we and like a lot of other people just said so many complaints about this offense. They were so like mediocre for pretty much over half the season, and they still finished 5th. Last year. Like it's hard for me to get away from that. And I guess just the fact that they won't be playing Cat at center full time will be like the single biggest knock on them offensively. But I just think the talent's overwhelming. They're good to shoot more threes. I think your logic of the field over is probably smart, but just as you guys were listing it, I wrote the same thing out, and I struggled to come up with like 8 teams that I could think could reasonably like finish in the top 5. Like I Denver, Cleveland were the only 2 quote unquote locks I had. I think Oklahoma City's there. I could see teams like Houston, Atlanta, the Lakers, like sniffing that. I think it's weird to say offense is down, but maybe it is with Halliburton and Tatum both out.
I was thinking the same thing. Relatively speaking. Yeah.
Those are the 2 defining offensive players on 2 of the teams. Again, you would have thought probably would have been ahead of the Knicks. So I think I would actually take the over on that. All right, but I have 2 picks. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. First one, you know what? I'm just going to go with something I've been saying all offseason. I will take the low-hanging fruit and say Knicks over 53.5 wins. And I think I've vacillated a lot on this. I'm curious what kind of roller coaster you guys have gone on, because early this offseason, I was teetering on the under. I thought that was a great line. I was going back and forth. And then early this preseason, I was saying they're going to smash that. They're going to win 57, 58 games. They're going to blow away the rest of the NBA with this new offense, with this ball movement, with this depth. And the biggest mitigating factor to me is I just think the bench is weaker than I thought it was going to be a week ago for multiple reasons. Malcolm Brogdon retiring. I don't think you guys, Kris, I know especially, were not as high on Malcolm as I was. I thought he was going to be like a real just booster engine for this team and like a really helpful piece throughout the regular season when he was healthy. Mitch, it seems like, might play less games than we think, might only just play half the regular season games, not even because he's hurt, just because that is how the Knicks are choosing to manage him. I think Guerschon Yabusele, this is not something we've had a ton of time to touch on, so feel free to tell me if you completely disagree. He's been a little disappointing relative to how I expect him to look. Some of that might just be that he shot, I think, 27% from 3 this preseason, 40% last year for the Sixers. If that bounces back to the same number, he will obviously look a lot better. Jordan Clarkson, I should have anticipated this. Very hit or miss, times where he's looking awesome, times where he just ruins your day a little bit. And because of that, I'm a little less confident in taking the over here. I'm just still such a big
But
believer in the there we go. There's the but. Just a big believer in like the frontline talent and just the fact that the top 7 for this team is as good as any in the NBA and that they have one of the easiest schedules in the NBA. Like I think I looked and it was like 4th, 5th easiest schedule in the league if I'm remembering correctly. I think I don't think they smash it, but if you ask me to pick a number, I would say 55. And because of what's left on the board, I feel pretty confident taking it here. But first, we want to let you know that today's show is also brought to you by our good friends over at Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to start saying yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your number and contacts the same. I love that you're getting the same quality service you had before, but for a fraction of the price. Plus, the setup is incredibly easy. They let you keep your own number, and you're up and running in just minutes. So you ready to start saying yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That is mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Go ahead, Kris. What do you got?
I was just gonna say that I think it's tough to separate the Knicks having the best roster they've had in however long from how good is that roster in a vacuum from how good is that roster compared to the rest of the league.
It's such
because
a good point.
Sometimes I think
this is something I've been thinking about while going on walks the last few days. I'm like, oh, like the Raptors are actually like pretty decent. And they're like,
all right, well, hold on. No, now we're going too far the other.
But I mean, compared to last year where none of their guys played.
35 wins. Anyway, my point was like, I think sometimes we leave out the vacuum one.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we're like, well, the Pacers and the Celtics are injured. And the Knicks haven't been this good in 25 years. So sounds like they're going to the finals. And it's like, I think sometimes it's like, okay, one of the 2 stud wings goes down. Kevin McCullough Jr., Pacome Dadier, Mo Diawara, who's getting playoff minutes. And it's like, wait, what? How did we get there? And it's like, your rotation. That's how we got there. Like your roster. Landry Shamet is obviously the choice, but like, you're one more injury away from needing to make that choice of Mo, Kevin, or Pac. And that's like constantly like the thing is, the backup quarterback has to be someone you're okay with starting. And it's not the case a lot of the time. So I'm really split on this win total. I would go under out of pure like precaution for injury, but that's not at all a strong opinion from me. I do think like what we're seeing right now is guys adjusting. I don't know how long this is going to last. If it's 30 games versus 45, that's a huge difference.
All right. My final pick here. The Tyler Kolek one is just unappealing as an argument to me. So I'll be an ungracious host and leave that to one of you two. I am going to go defensive rating or over under. Which one do I feel more strongly about? I will go defensive rating, and I will say over in that the Knicks are better than 11.5. They were 13th last season. To me, this is just like they were 13th. Like, and again, to Kris's point, this is an oversimplification and looking at things in a vacuum, but they were 13th last year with Mitchell Robinson basically not playing, with Mikal having pretty clearly the worst defensive season of his career. I think those two things are somewhat reversed. The bench pieces might have gotten slightly worse defensively, though they're pretty similar, honestly. Like it's just Gershon for Precious. I guess that's a downgrade on defense for sure. But I don't know. I think they will be slightly better. I would have them pegged right at 11th in the NBA. I put together my own little list of Oklahoma City will 100% be ahead of them. Teams that'll like 75% or more be ahead of them. Rockets, Magic, Clippers, Wolves, Warriors, Cavs, Pistons, Mavs. That still leaves the Knicks. I'll do some fast counting. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So that leaves the Knicks at 10th. I had the Bucks, Blazers, Hawks, Spurs as teams that I thought could also potentially jump them. Celtics, maybe just out of infrastructure, should be mentioned as well. Pacers could be pretty solid on that end. I will say the Knicks are 11th in defense. But Kris, what say you on that?
I was like pretty sure that I was going to end up drafting this and taking the over with regard to them being in that top third of the league.
Mhm.
And now you listed some of those teams out, and I don't agree with all the teams you said, but I do know I agree with enough of them for me to now want to go with the under. I just like, there are going to be a lot of teams out there that aren't wearing themselves down on offense.
Mhm.
And like the Knicks, you know, part of what's frustrating about last season for them is they weren't running 2 or 3 actions every time down the floor. They were spending half the shot clock resting and recuperating, and then one shot would get taken. And like now that's going to be 2 or 3 sets and actions and a third of the time or however often, and they're going to be more tired on defense, but they'll be playing fewer minutes. Like there's so many things to balance here. I think it's fine to just say they'll be top 10 in the back half of the season, but the fact that they're going to be like 18th or something in the first half of the season will keep them out of the top 10. So that's probably around where I'm at now is that they'll just barely miss it because of teams like Indiana, not Boston. Sorry, not happening. Indiana, Atlanta, Clippers, like you said, there are some Wolves, there are some good ones.
Yeah, just too much competition defensively. I would definitely go under for this one. Probably this is the way I would have gone if you didn't take it, Gavin. So yeah, I'm definitely in agreement on that.
What's your last pick?
My last pick is because I am scared to death of all this net rating, this offensive rating, defensive rating stuff. I'm gonna go with Tyler Kolek, under 30 games playing 8+ minutes.
Damn it.
And it's not a sexy pick.
I did shift it to 20 on our final board. Does that
it is 20.
Sorry, 20. And yeah. I would have went way under 30. I'm still going under 20.
Sure. He played really, 12 last year for context for people listening.
Really, that is the presence of Jordan Clarkson for me. That changes that. I think Jordan Clarkson will have some games where he plays like 35 minutes. And so that's the whole thing. And to be honest, it's a little bit of an emotional hedge because it's like, if I'm wrong, that means Clarkson's not playing as much and Kolek is playing more. So I'll be happy regardless. So that's why I picked it.
I like the logic. Kris, your final pick is a force, but we cannot force you to pick over under. Knicks over under 4.5 in net rating. So basically, are they top 4 in net rating or not?
Man, this was a good line.
Thanks.
But I think
the first time anyone said that over the course.
I think second time.
Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
Actually got you.
I'm fishing. Go for
it. I don't want to pick under because I do think all the stars are aligned for the Knicks to be one of these super grayed out, super efficient type of teams. But I'm going to go under, both as an odds play and also as like, it's very clear from the injury report ahead of Wednesday night's opener that there are some things that need to be worked out here. There's both an adjustment period with regard to having a new coach. Remember when they had the same coach for like the 5th straight year, but they missed their starting center for half the start of the year? So it was like, guys, this is all going to crap and we can't really criticize anyone because they weren't expecting this. Well, now they have a new coach and potentially the same set of circumstances. I think Josh will be back very soon. But then once he's back, does he decide to sit out because of the finger? Does he, so we'll see how this all goes. I think the Knicks getting 5th or 6th here would be really good for them and still hit the under. So there's your rationale for under.
Actually, what do you think?
I think over on this. Yeah, I think over on this. It's really hard. It's really hard to nail down, and that's why I stayed away from it, to be honest with you. I think Kris makes a strong argument, but for me, it's just sort of like if I'm lower on the defense, higher on the offense, like I am, I think it'll shake out to kind of being right there. So I could go 50-50 with this, but I think I would go over.
I wrote over in my notes, but I'm switching to under because you two have succeeded in curbing my enthusiasm on this team over the course of this podcast. So I will leave it there. I will go under on that. But final one, if I were to set an over under on this, it would probably be 12.5, and that's basically, do the Knicks make the finals or not? But I'm stealing this question again directly from our guy Andrew Claudio, and I'll just ask you guys to pick a specific number. Kris, we can start with you. How many playoff games do the New York Knicks win this year?
I always hate this. I'll tell you right now, and I resent this because you're both predicting the Knicks playoff success and other teams' caliber of fight that they can put up.
It's wins, right? You can only get 4 wins in a series, so it doesn't matter if the series goes longer. It's not how many games they play; it's just how many wins.
Right, but if they run into...
Oh, yeah, if they lose, yeah.
If Donovan Mitchell misses half the season and then the Knicks and Cavs are the 1-4 second-round matchup, and then the Cavs are healthy and win, I'm a moron for thinking that they're going to win, 11 games. So I'm just prefacing by saying I resent this question, like the question. and you personally for posing it.
That's fair.
That said, I'm going to go with they make it out of the first round, so that's 4 to start. I think the second round they will make it out of, so that's 8 to start. They're not going out in 5 probably, so that's 9. And then the question is, do I think they win this round or not? I'm going to go with 12. Give me a Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh, so they would win the Eastern Conference.
No,
finals,
11
in the finals. Okay, 11.
11.
Okay.
That's yes. I'm so good at math. All right, 11. Give me a Game 7 ECF loss. Both a slight improvement from the year before, despite not. Look at this.
The basketball gods just shut.
I'm Dr.
hating on your own team.
Dr. Naismith just snapped his fingers in the direction of my roof.
Yeah.
What the heck? Okay.
All right. So Chris' final bet is 16. Chris thinks they're going to win the championship.
So as I was saying, folks, 18 wins. No. So yeah, I'm going to go with 11 here. Give me a slight increase in how long their season lasts from the year before, but I will say we'll get a different team in the finals, probably Cleveland.
Actually,
Cleveland, Denver finals. How about that, folks?
This is an easy one for me. 14 for the Knicks. 14 playoff wins. We're going to turn around the pessimism that you were feeling, Gavin. Like, for me, the regular season is entirely different this season for the Knicks. It's about experimentation. There's going to be things that go wrong. There's going to be things that are being tried out. There's going to be an adjustment period. There's going to be a lot that happens. And that's why I'm not super high on these ratings, these net ratings from the regular season. And who knows, there's too many things and variables and factors that go into that for the Knicks with their first season under this new coach, with installing so many different principles and a system. So that's why I'm not really comfortable with that. If I seem down on the Knicks, it's not on the Knicks as a team. It's the Knicks in the regular season, which is a specific entity. We're talking about in the playoffs. This team is built for that. I think they will have worked out all the kinks. I think this is a finals team. They will make a finals run, 14 games. I think they'll see Oklahoma City in the finals, and that's going to be tough. But until that point, they will win every series going forward. That's what I got.
I'll keep it short. I wrote it down before the episode. I have the exact same answer as you. 14. I was thinking they lose to Oklahoma City in 6. Maybe they lose to Oklahoma City in 5. I don't want to think about that, though. I do think Chris's scenario is entirely plausible. And I spent like all summer driving home, like for the people who were saying, all right, well, now you fired Tom Thibodeau, so it's championship or bust. You better put up or shut up, or that was a stupid move. And maybe those people end up being right, but I don't believe that. Process over results. I think the process will be better. To Chris's point, they could lose in the second round. Doesn't mean the results will be better. But also to Chris's point, this is just entirely a guess. So many factors you don't know. Injuries you can't predict. So I'm just choosing to be optimistic here.
First round exit, but they did it the right way.
Exactly. Maybe. Who knows? Dude, I don't know. They play the Sixers in the first round. Joel Embiid averages 40 a game. That'd be dark.
And the damn show.
I'm going.
That's enough out of you, man.
I'm going.
And the damn show.
14 playoff wins.
I predict the Knicks in the finals. I'm going 14. I'm optimistic. I don't think they could beat the Thunder. I think to be clear, if anyone else in the West beats the Thunder, I think it's BS. Like the people who coming into the year are saying the Nuggets are in a different class than the Knicks. I for one, I understand the argument because they've done it, and Jokic is just far and away the best player in that series. I don't buy it personally. I think the Knicks could totally beat the Nuggets in a series. Thunder, different story. That'll end our show. XJ, thank you. Kris, thank you. We will review these sometime this offseason. Until then, this has been Locked On Knicks. We'll talk to you soon.